existence, freed from the manipulations of their now absent gods. The Solamnic Knights, paragons of honor and duty, stand as the unflinching guardians of peace. Forsaking personal claims to power, these knights embody an unwavering commitment to justice, serving as a beacon of hope and stability in a world still healing from its past wounds. The government of Solamnia is comprised of three equal branches: the House of Lords, representatives from the noble class, who still own most of the land and soldiers. The Grand Solamnic Parliaments, consisting of local representatives elected by the people to serve in provincial and federal capitals. It is worth noting that the Solamnic Knights are funded by the Parliament and sworn to honor and protect its decisions. The Arcane Triumvirate are the third branch. One mage representative from each tower. These three are the only magic wielders allowed in government. In the arcane spheres, the towers of high sorcery reign absolute. These custodians of magical knowledge wield their authority with a solemn gravity, ensuring that the arcane remains a controlled and respected force. Mages, bound by the tower's edicts, are stripped of land, title, or office. Their presence in banal courts a subtle reminder of the balance between political and raw power. Transformed by necessity, the Order of Clerics, once divine emissaries, now traverse a world devoid of their gods. From their stronghold in the Cleric's Tower, amidst the Kenda-controlled Western Plains, they have adapted to their new role as legal solicitors, notaries, and arbiters, their sacred rituals replaced by the intricacies of contract and law. It is in this waxing era of arcane technical wonders that the winds suddenly shift, carrying with them rumors of dark powers rising in the east.
We're live. We're live. Hey, Vicovar, what's going on? Because we're talking about what's happening. Claire's wanting to get caught up. Let me just do a 30-second, not even, little intro. Welcome back to our D&D game, where you, the audience, get to join in and be voices inside Legion's head. Unfortunately, Legion's unconscious, but you know what? The chat has power, so try it out. Tell us what to do. My name is Nicholas Coy Santillo. I'm going to be your game master today. I'm joined by our fantabulous players. That's right, I wrote fantabulous. Claire Hogan, back in the player's seat, playing Juniper Arley Candlewick III, the noble Kender, who thought being a cleric was more about contract law than divination until she became the first representative of the gods in an age. Michael Keane as Harold Gray, halfling, proletariat, philosopher, widower. Sam Gilroy as Thaddeus Turnpike, second-born of the landed raider clan that is the Turnpikes, apprentice wizard of the towers. It took him dying for him to grow up and embrace his full magical potential. And Sean Boyd as Aelric Tiamaticus, raised to be a soldier, recently granted the title of Duke of the Hinterlands and the last true Dragonborn. But Claire, you're catching up. Where did we leave off? What's going on? People are talking. We did our intro. Thank you very much. Coffee talk. I'll give you a topic. What happened last week?
You got high up because I believe you dropped down out of a rope trick, but there was a lot of height shenanigans where for a while you were 60 feet up in the air. There's a lot of things that were flying all around, and Bubo did get
What? Like how was there, like what made it so that we could be high up?
Magic rope. He cast magic rope, and there was like a door that opened up. That was the thing that we did right before you left. Is we shared. I grabbed you and leapt like 17 feet, and he flew 20 feet. And we met in the middle and grabbed you and took you up. And so you were able to go basically stick your head out of because that's 60 feet off the ground. And so you were kind of like throwing these spells and everything like that during that time. And then That's what it was, allowing you to stay both safe and active in the fight, because you were 60 feet off the ground in this kind of paradimensional hole with Bubo for a while, but then he left. But so it was just you, basically, yeah, just crushing. You did a lot of great work from the magic
Super
hole.
powerful command spell.
Great.
Yeah, you dropped the dragon and its rider 90 feet to the ground.
Excellent work, Alberta. That's awesome. Very cool.
And you
I gotta watch the episode.
Your hammer.
It was awesome. So I want to do a little previously on here. I prepared a little something something. Let me just find my appropriate music, because you can't have a previously on without just the right music. There we go. The unconscious body of Bubo is held almost delicately within the massive talons of the young dragon, crimson red like fleshy, spilt blood against his dark forest brown feathers. The flock of draconic beasts swoop and screech around their leader as they retreat from the battlefield, high above the crashing waves of the northern sea, across the fjord to the massive and ancient military airship transport that is itself adorned in the banner of the Red Dragon Army. Could any observer get close enough to these ferocious dragonelle, they may still miss the tiny figure clinging to the spiny ridges between the wings of one of them. A brown, furry speck under a wide-brimmed and brightly feathered hat. Well, it seems that there is where I must embark, my leathery-winged friend. But I will leave you with a memento, so you may never forget the day you first met. And with a quick flash of steel, the small rodent inscribes a mark on the dragonelle's wing, an S and N superimposed on one another. Squeak Noir. A flash of morning light glinks off the toothpick-sized rapier before it finds its sheath. And then the rat is off, scampering down the spine of the undulated dragonelle, oblivious to its recent branding. Down the thinning spine and launching himself into the vast sky, timed perfectly with the whip crack of the tail. There is a moment of absolute stillness as the little rat reaches the vertex of his escape trajectory high above a desolate expanse of land. A celestial memorial branded into the earth itself. And as gravity begins to embrace the small rodent, a breeze catches his brim. My hat. Back on the ground, everyone seems petrified as they watch the dragonelle flock that has taken Bubo away. Then suddenly, little Bubo makes a screech and launches into the sky in seeming pursuit. But it quickly becomes clear little Bubo is not after the retreating enemy, but some other invisible target. Little Bubo climbs and then dives over the edge of the nearby cliff. There's a sickening moment where both Bubos are lost to the party. Falling at terminal velocity towards a churning ocean, one might reasonably be concerned about the philosophical concept of mortality, specifically one's own. But as the dark feathered owl closes to match the tiny rat in the steep descent, the rising sun glints off his dark black pearl eyes. We shall have to work on your timing, my friend. Then the little brown owl appears, cresting over the cliff, and returning to Thad.
As Lil Bubo flies off, I mean, the second that they all take off, I run in third levels, cast Cure Wounds on Arlick.
Amazing. Yeah. Give us a roll for that Cure Wounds. And Sean, are we going to get your... We lost your face.
It's going to be an extra 2d.
There he is.
No idea why. Sorry.
I thought you just had to like do a little touch up or get some powder.
I don't know why. I didn't even hear it go off. Thank you.
We need finals. Can we get finals in here? Just a little bit of little bit of
Last
shine.
looks. Get some last looks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 20. That's a fat 20.
Yeah, you're up. You're up with 20 HP.
Nice. So as Bubo lands with Squeak Noir still clutching to his back onto the shoulder. Well, actually, Harold's invisible at this point, so beyond to Thad's shoulder. How do you cast this magic, Thad, to bring Aelric back?
This is connected to the this is not something I learned via the Mage Tower. This is something from the Zivil, whatever happened to me when I was resurrected. And I reach out and I put my hand on the pendant, and I speak nonsense words in Kender. Like if they're not, oh god, what's the name for it? There's like a specific terminology for nonsense words used for, so it's eerily close to Kender words, but not quite. And it does have an almost prayer-like lilt to it, but it's one hand
gibberish.
Yeah, but it is gibberish. I also let go of my shadow blade once they're flying away, and the shadow snaps back to the shadow of my staff,
Sick.
which didn't have a shadow. Yeah, but it was just
I have a question. Does Thad have a shadow when he's casting Shadow Blade, or does his shadow kind of become the magical shadow?
No, it is specifically the shadow. I still cast a shadow, but my staff would no longer be casting a shadow. So
Nice. So the shadow just sucks back into your staff and then spreads back out across the ground as it reaffirms itself in its rightful position in the morning light.
And I heal him up, and sort of this warmth spreads from there down my arm into the Dragon Man.
Amazing. Aelric, this is the third time you've been dropped in the last minute or so, kind of down and up, down and up, down and up.
Well, Aelric every single time comes up fighting every single time, but now it's one of those moments where, like, it's straight out of a sitcom, or not a sitcom, but one of those adventure movies when they wake up one of the people and they're like,
There's an eerie quiet.
That's what it is. It's a lot of overcompensation getting ready to go into battle, and a lot of momentum with no follow through because there's no more enemies. So it's quite a clamoring, thunderous bit of nonsense.
Nice. Sounded fury signifying nothing.
As I I grab Squeak Noir, I put him into a pocket.
Oh, but what?
And then I to the big dragon man who's just woken up scared. They have Bubo. I don't know where Harold is. We need to get to Legion, and I book it in the direction to where we were all running towards, screaming like at the top of my lungs as I dart forward.
Amazing. Harold, if you're still concentrating, you're still invisible, I believe.
Yeah, so Harold drops invisibility.
The little small halfling just appears in the center of this desolate landscape.
It's this way. We should hurry. And he leads the party towards the Legion construct.
I
Nice.
was just going to say, I really think that we should try to wake it up. We've got these, what are they called again? They're heart seeds, star seeds, soul seeds.
Soul crystals.
Eternity
crystals.
Eternity crystals.
Boom.
It can hold the soul. It can't. It can hold a soul. We can turn it. We can trap a god in one of these. I don't think we can use it to turn on Legion.
You don't know that. I don't know that. I kind of wonder if we take an empty one and just sort of shove it into Legion's eye, perhaps its neutral form, the one that we met at the very beginning, the one that's just sort of like, hello, the one that has no personality but is very helpful. Perhaps that one will come online. If we give it nothing, then wouldn't default perhaps the template that we met? It's just an idea. I don't know. I'm a knowledge cleric, so it's not anything I say.
I love it.
It has a modicum of legitimacy.
Arlie, I love the idea. I really do. But maybe we can play around with that after we've recovered the construct. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were leading us to it. My apologies.
Oh, we're doing a walk and talk. Sorry.
I think we're Sorkining. This is a classic
We're-
Aaron
Well, yeah,
Sorkin.
we're
like-
West Winging this whole thing here.
Yeah.
She's like, and then when we get there, this is my plan. It's not. But I'm not the only one that's in charge of the crystal, Eternity Crystal. It's a sort of shared trinket, so I don't want to break it by accident, because then getting another one, oh boy.
As you finish this walk and talk, we arrive at the Legion construct, which is inert and on the ground. Harold, how did you leave it in the kind of sandy, rocky ground?
Oh, it's in the middle of nowhere. He didn't really have time to do anything,
Yeah.
right? Because he cast the first invisibility, and then the plan just went to shit.
Yeah, it's close by. So from standing around Legion, I'm just going to paint a little picture here. You can see on the map that I have up for the stream and also for everyone who's playing, I believe, we have our little Legion logo in blue because I'm colorblind and blue is something I can see. But you're all there at the edge of that cliff. These hexes are all 6 miles from end to end. Across to the west of you, you can see that Ouroboros symbol there, which represents the enemy forces. That's about 4 miles across from the top of your cliff to the top of the cliff where the enemy are. And in the air between the two of you is that flock of Dragonel led by that young red dragon mounted by the leader. Carrying Bubo, and you can see across. It's quite far, but it's empty space. This is dry, empty air. There's not much weather, so you can see that across this fjord on the opposite cliff are seemingly hundreds of soldiers going into boarding a ancient pre-cataclysmic military airship, like a vast zeppelin, almost. But at your feet, as you stare out, looking down, at your feet is the Legion construct, as you all saw that first time. Its open eye socket exposed the gashes across its face from that Death Knight's claws, gauntleted hands as it tore the Eternity Crystal from its face that you are all kind of searching for and started this entire journey. In its other forms, its face kind of hides that loss, but now in its neutral form, you can see that scarring.
Before we get to the Legion Con, as we were doing this sort of brisk walk and talk, after I healed, can we see the pod flying things? In which direction they're banking and going in? Are they flying back towards sort of the main airship body?
The pod? Oh, like the Dragonels? Yeah, they're returning to the main forces. Yeah.
I take out the Eternity Gem and just to see and I look at Arlie and I sort of like make a big show of like, and I put it into the gashed out place where the empty socket is.
Perhaps we need to do a bit of a arcana check. Oh no, it's already done. Oh great, okay.
Are you just jamming it in there? Yeah.
Can we just give it a bit of a gently? Can we give it?
I'm like, I'm not like just like jamming the USB port. You know what I mean? I am trying to like, I'm not trying to break anything as I.
Trying to strip the.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gotta work. This has gotta work. Give me, trying to push it in. I'm gonna say, give me.
Arlie can't.
Yeah.
She's just and
be like, please?
Kendra's gonna be like, get out of the way. What's the big idea here? Get out of the way. Let me at it. I don't know if Thad's gonna let her.
Like, is there any reaction as I even begin to? Like, do I feel any sort of magical thrum or any kind of like sympathies?
Oh, no! This the construct feels inert, like it's shut down. Yeah, it's if you want to give me if you want to like if you're specifically trying to like feel for something, you can give me a roll. But if you're just kind of like doing like moving it closer and seeing if there's like a magnetic reaction almost, you don't feel anything.
I once I don't feel anything, I hand the stone over to her, but I do say, we need to get out of here and quickly. I told you that Bubo was next. He's gonna point to Harold, lose an arm, and then I just walk off into the
Nice.
Yeah.
As you walk away, little Squeak Noir pops his head out of your pocket, Thad, and he's like, he has returned, my large friend. And he hops out of your pocket and saunters over to Harold. You disappeared on me, my friend.
My apologies. Harold bows and doffs his hat.
He hops in your hat.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Carries up onto my shoulder where he sits. Put my
Yeah.
hat back on.
Basically sitting on top of the brim of your hat, and puts his hat over his head himself. He's like, I believe I've done enough for one day. Wake me when I am needed.
Harold turns to Aelric and says, I don't think we can go after him.
I know we can't.
All right. Well, let's get the hell out of here.
Arlie, you're standing there with the Eternity Crystal in your hands that was just handed to you by Thad.
So I'm just gonna be like, really sorry you couldn't get it to work, Thad. Ooh, might be in a mood. Right. Ooh, quite a mood. So just let him go. Right. So then Arlie's gonna cast Guidance on herself, and I'd like to. Well, I mean, I put it in the chat. So I'd like to do an Arcana check with Guidance, to try to figure out like magic item, magic legion, to help Zivlin.
So
things.
So what are you looking to what are you looking to find?
Well, I have a hypothesis.
Okay.
And the hypothesis is that somehow, even if you can put a godless Eternity Crystal into Legion, that perhaps it could promote enough wholeness to animate Legion. That's the hypothesis. So Arcana check wise, it's like with, it's not like she's ever read a book about Legion, although she has a book about things. So I feel like she's kind of in uncharted divine territory, but that, the Arcana check is to try to see if this instinct, like it's an opportunity for the DM to say, really feels like you're looking at apples and oranges here, or like really feels like I'm looking at the DM to sort of like help guide me, like Arlie, like me as a player, like if this is a direction, or just like we tried something and we move on now. Like that's kind of I don't know if that's too meta.
Yeah. Give me an Arcana check, and as you start examining this, like you're getting close, and to examine both this and the receptacle kind of slot.
Right, which also may be damaged.
Yeah.
Like if I'm remembering correctly. So there's also like that. It's just like even if they could go together, and even if something could happen, you notice.
Yeah. So give me an Arcana check with your guidance, and you're gonna get the help. You're gonna receive help from the library cat. So roll with advantage.
Oh, library cat. There you are. Okay. We're rolling in D&D Beyond, but have we set up the communication over to Foundry?
I'm not sure. You can always just tell me the results.
Okay. It looks
Yeah.
like I have. I can see
Yeah, it looks good.
That's not great. Let's add. I didn't add guidance. So guidance. Let's roll the d20s. Sorry, d4s. In the dice bin.
Yeah.
And then do I just press enter on that? Yeah. There. No, I'm sorry. That's too many. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just trying to press buttons. Let me do it again in the next one. Count.
It's okay. And Aelric, you're going to get +4 on that Zivelin amulet by using a charge for yourself.
Sorry, it keeps happening. I'm pressing the button and then
It's breaking. It's broken. Oh
and then
my
I press
God.
enter to make it roll, and then it doesn't do it.
No.
Just
You can also press the roll button.
Okay. Oh. Okay. I don't. Okay. No, it did it again. This one's gonna count. Here's a one. Okay, so it's not a very good Arcana check.
Okay, so with advantage,
held
that
back
gives
to-
you a 10 with advantage, right? Because you rolled a 7 and a 9 +1. With a 10, probably won't make things worse. I think the biggest
What were those
thing,
dice
the biggest
for?
thing that you noticed was like that there's a physical issue right now, which is like if we're going to use, this is a Arcanotech device that is Legion, so we can use kind of computers as an analogy.
Hold on. Where am I? I'm gonna just go pull up the most recent potent.
Oh, your portent dice. Arlie has a couple portent dice that she got when she got her special magic book. And I think Arlie's actually never used her portent dice in game, which is pretty wild.
It's not gonna make a difference. I could just raise it up to a 13. That's all I can do. It's not. No, we're not gonna do it.
Not going to do it?
Arlie
Okay.
will continue to have never used her potent dice.
Amazing. So with a 10, Arlie, there's a couple issues here that you're kind of looking at in terms of Arcana. The one issue is that, like, I guess there's this, like, using a computer analogy is like, if I plug this in, am I going to, like, make things worse, like put a virus in or, like, wipe something? It's like, if I pull out the hard drive before I eject it, is that going to be a problem? If I put something in, is there going to be an issue? It's inert. The crystal's kind of inert. It's like an empty, fresh crystal. So it's probably not going to... You don't foresee any issues. What you do see is just like the basic physical issue of that. Like the last one was torn out. So
I'm
the
laughing
port
at
is
Vikavar
just...
saying, "Don't reformat Legion."
Don't reformat Legion, right? The last one was torn out by like kind of claws. So there's just... like it's almost like ripping, like ripping a USB port out by tearing the port itself. You could probably still use that port if you could connect something, but like the port is no longer physically, like it's not going to physically take the same one in the same way. You might be able to force it in, but like are all of the nodes going to match up and all that sort of stuff? All very unclear.
So I guess
This is one of those times you want to know.
It actually is beyond my ken. So that sucks. Never mind. Where's Eric, do you want to carry Legion? Maybe we can kind of make like a sort of baby Bjorn. Put it on. No, you've got wings now. Well, you will have to carry it on the front. I don't know. I don't know. What are we going to do with it?
Actually, Aelric hits those 4 seeds of Zivlin again, starts to strip off the breastplate. I've already done the mechanics on. I've already done the math on this. I have to do this, and I'm gonna make a sled out of my breastplate and put
Hell yeah.
the corpse. It's actually too heavy for me to carry for any distance, but I can sled it.
Cool.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so I'll need to borrow a rope, and because I cut mine and haven't replaced it yet, so I need to borrow a rope and make a sled, create a harness, and just drag the thing behind me.
I love it. I love it. So, my question now is, what is the plan for the party? We have our travel challenge rules. I posted them in our in-house thing. I'm going to reread them as well for people, for our audience. So if we're trying to kind of reach a destination, we would be using these travel challenge rules. We could, and then like, so the way that these work, we've kind of stolen some of these rules from online. I think it's Matthew Colville uses what I based mine on. I've kind of adjusted them slightly. For every hex you want to travel, including the one you're arriving at and the one you are now, because they are 6 miles, is 1 required success. So wherever you want to go is the number of, it kind of depends on the number of successes. Additionally, in terms of, we're not just going through space, but there is a time function here, because this is me kind of like my own homebrew version of travel. We are playing with 3 shifts per day, or 3 kind of actions per day. Each shift or action, you can travel or rest or do something else. When you travel, you roll your skill challenge and move 1 hex, regardless of the result. If you want, you can press ahead in the same shift, and that means you get to move an additional hex, but you have to roll an exhaustion save, everyone. If you choose to rest, you reset your exhaustion save DC, because every time you roll an exhaustion save, it goes up by 2. And then if you want to do something else...
The travel DC, Koi?
So the travel DC is 16. Exhaustion save starts at 12, and every single time you do it as a party, it's going to go up by 2. If you travel all night, for example, that's an exhaustion save. And if you keep traveling without sleeping, you're going to be doing exhaustion saves every shift. So basically, you need to sleep every 2 shifts, regardless of when that is in the day. If you choose to press on, you're rolling exhaustion save. If you choose to travel without sleep, that's an exhaustion save. If you rest, you get to reset the DC of that save. And because it is the Northern Wastelands, you do not receive a long rest. You can only get short rests in the Northern Wastelands until you find safe harbor. One known safe harbor is Wrecker's Edge, where your expedition beachhead is, where all of your forces are. There may be others in the Northern Wastelands, but you don't know of them at the moment. But
Well,
with that sled created, you definitely have the capacity to travel at speed. Because without that sled solution, Aelric could only drag Legion 5 feet per round, which is like way, way, way slow. So with that sled, I'm gonna say like we can use the rope, and we're not gonna roll for that because you have all the material, you have the skills. So we're gonna say that we would start our travel, whichever way you want to go, in our afternoon shift. That would be our first roll. But I'll let you guys, we can talk it out a little bit. Like, we can do it in character. You can ask me some questions out character if you have just some, logistical questions or anything around that.
Well, after Aelric rigs this sled and straps the harness on before he takes a step, he turns to the other three and says, I believe Wrecker's Edge is our only option.
The ruins of teleportation that the elves use. We access them, Thad?
Can I access them, DM?
So Jelzuel actually cast a teleportation circle. He didn't have a portal in Exile's End. He was able to return himself to his ship, the one that you found at Wrecker's Edge. So it's a one-way. The ship is the spot that wherever they're from, they can cast the spell and return to the ship. But it requires knowing that spell, which Thad has not been taught yet.
Got it.
So no, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to hoof it, but I think that we need to push through the night. I mean, it's gonna take us. It's four hexes, right? So that's one exhaustion. That's one overnight.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexes.
It's six. Oh, because we're not at Exile's End.
No, we're on
Yeah.
the blue. We're at the blue Legion marker.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mean, I don't disagree. I think we're going to have to push through at least one exhaustion check. But
Is Exile's End considered a safe haven?
When the 24 elves and their wizard leaders were there, yes. Without them there, no.
Can we send a message to them to come back?
no, they've already sent us a message telling us they were hoofing it. Oh, you're talking about our retinue. I thought you meant the elves.
I mean, could we? Does anybody?
You can totally
have-
message. I think if you have the spells, you
Claire
can
can.
message.
Can't play our message? I mean, Arlie can message. Sorry.
I am Arlie. Yeah, I'm not totally following. Like, are you guys seeing 6? Oh, I got Exile's End and Wrecker's Edge mixed up. I see what I did there. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so the party is at the blue head. The party's at the blue Legion
Yeah.
logo.
Sorry,
and
I thought
then-
we were.
Yeah,
I thought
all
we
good.
were trying to get to Exile's End, and I was like, but it's just one hex away. Can't read. Sorry. So we want the elves in their airship come back for us. What do we want?
I think
I
you were
just-
talking about the Rangers, right, Sam? Because the
Yeah.
elves are gone. They said they're going back to their woods.
I think that we should send if you can send a message all the way back to the troops that we're leading at Wrecker's Edge, we should have them start moving towards us deeper to cut down the amount of time that we're dragging. We should make like a little try. Like we should try to meet them at this tile, maybe, if we can do that, depending on the speed. Like get away from the opposing army, try to.
Yeah, so NPC forces, including your expeditionary forces, because they are larger and they move in a different pace, they travel 1 hex per day.
Well, they can still get closer.
For sure. Yeah. Just letting you know.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm just eating lunch, but for sure I can. So
we can move 2 hexes per day.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We need to go. We need to go back to the Arcane Crucible and our Rangers. Yes?
The Rangers were escorting the elves back, right? To Wrecker's Edge.
Taking them back. Oh, goodness. Okay.
That
Then,
was
yeah,
their task.
we
They
can
were-
tell the expeditionary force to move inland.
Can I get a quick context recap?
Yeah.
Like, who are the Rangers are not the elves. Who are the Rangers? We have forces? Are these from Calaman? Like, is this our army? And then
That's a good question. So two.
how did we get them? And when did we send for them? And have they been there this whole time? And were they
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of the fight with the big dragon? And
This
like,
makes
how
total
did we
sense,
get
'cause
them here? And we
you
took
all-
a boat all by ourselves, and we left them there. I think, or maybe.
It's been a minute, but yeah, after
It's
we
been a
landed,
minute.
after we landed,
Oh,
we
let's keep it. Sorry, Koi. Right. I've hit my head really hard. I don't know why, because my slide down the rope was phenomenal, fantastic, and it should be written down in a book somewhere. But for some reason, I can't really remember why we were put in charge of Calaman. Oh, I think because Aelric wanted us to do things. But anyway, did we take an army with us? And I've forgotten because we were in the Fail Realms for so long. And I
We took-
don't take
we-
good notes.
we took a small retinue with us. We had 2 Rangers with us that escorted us all the way to the Cauldron, but didn't go with us to the Feywilds.
And where did we get them from? From the Calaman
They
army
came from
that we...
Calaman.
Oh, okay, that was very smart.
And
And then did
They
we
traveled
have more
with
of
us
them?
on. They traveled with us on the ship. We left them after
How many?
Harold
How
saved
many?
them
Just
from the
context.
water.
I know that I would know this, but right now I don't. What, like, are we talking like 40,
Was it-
120?
I believe it was 3 companies, right? Or no, it was more than that. It was like 200 or something.
200 soldiers
Really?
included. Yeah.
This is Sean, right? Because we had infantry, cavalry. We had a whole bunch of folks.
Yeah,
Um,
each of you led kind of are like assigned the lead of a contingent of troops. So you have
right.
cavalry, you have heavy infantry, light infantry, and rangers, totaling 200 troops, as well as a small band of like the most loyal remaining mercenaries of Cudgel's mercenary group, which Cudgel was that dwarf who fought alongside Isbin?
Yes. And so
and
we
is
go on then.
our tactical plan to kind of try to intercept the fleeing Dragonels in an attempt to rescue Bubo? Is that because I just think that we're going to
No.
send all 200 of them to a fiery grave, which we can do.
No.
We are.
We're
in fact,
we're
in
going
charge of
we're
Calaman.
going in the opposite direction. There's no way we
Oh.
can get Bubo back.
So, I'll save my emotional distress about that for a later, less strategically important time. You're welcome. So, what is it that we are endeavoring to do by where? We just want them to catch up with us. We just want backup.
We're meeting them halfway.
Why?
Because I am about to pass out, and I need a safe place to sleep.
I've
So
nearly
Oh my God, why
I've
didn't
nearly
you
died.
say so?
I've nearly died 3 times today. And now I'm dragging
Okay.
what I think is about 400 pounds behind me.
Why didn't everyone just
I'm unable
really
to-
live healing?
We are outnumbered because not only were the Dragonels and the Red Dragon and the whoever the woman was that was on top of the dragon, not only were they part of what we were fighting, but what we didn't fight, apparently from Harold's description, was a massive force of infantry.
Let's just do.
Harold,
crit.
would you like to open up the details on that for us, please?
Oh yeah, it's fucking bleak.
Right.
So I think the strategy is just to meet up with all the force of strength that we have available to us, and at least find some security and slowly make our way back towards Wrecker's Edge, having them meet us halfway.
They've got an airship.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I have enough capacity and energy at this point in time to at least send a message and I can either cure wounds at a fourth level, with a fourth level spell slot. I don't think that I have many. Oh no, we could do it at a first. Actually, we could do it at a first. Yeah, Thad and Elric, are you both on the edge of death, and I just haven't really noticed, which is tragically
I'm
on
not
brand.
anymore.
You get the sense
Okay.
that is definitely talking about his ability to command the arcane arts more than his abilities of body. You know, the
Great.
body.
If anyone starts to feel like they're going to, flatline, just let me know. But for now, sorry.
No, I need spell slots. That's I have
Okay.
out of spell slots.
Okay. Right. So for now, let's just get this message that I'm going to send as clear as possible. Who am I sending it to, and what are the coordinates that we want to communicate? Do we have a sort of specific ranger whose name we know, or that are I have to be familiar with them.
Sean can never remember his damn name. Starts with an R. Rislin?
Raistlin?
Ris-
Rizwin?
Quinlan? Quinlan and Rislin or something like that.
Those I think are the Sylvanestri guys. Am I wrong? I'm just saying, I'm just making up words at this point.
No, I know that they start with a Q and an R. I'm pretty sure, right? Quillith,
So
Quillith and Rizwind.
Yeah.
Quillith and Rizwind.
Quillith and Rizwin were the human ranger and dwarf rogue who joined you to Exile's End. Yes. They are exactly like the members of any action movie who are like, these are part of our core team, and have 0 lines and stand with you in all the main pictures and are listed as like the leads, but actually don't say anything except for when they die, and they just say, not like this, not like this.
Iconic. Okay, so I do have it. Anyway, long story short, I have a spell slot for sending.
Great.
So we got 25 words.
So how does sending work? Yeah. So can you read out sending?
You send a short message of 24 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. The creature hears the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you, and can answer in a like manner immediately. The spell enables creatures with intelligence scores of at least 1 to understand the meaning of your message. You can send the message across any distance and even to other planes of existence, but if the target is on a different plane than you, there's a 5% chance that the message doesn't arrive.
So you have to like roll a d20 is the idea?
I suppose if you were sending something outside of the plane of existence that you were in.
Oh, it's outside the plane of existence. There's a 5. I got you. Right.
Yeah. So it's basically it's successful as long as I know the recipient and they know me, and we can speak the same.
Yeah. So there's also and this is where I'm actually just forgetting his name. But there is also the leader of, or not fully the leader, but like the person who you've left in charge, who you've known since.
Oh yeah, the Salamic Knight.
Yeah. So you've known him the longest, and he is the highest ranking soldier in the expedition after all of you. I forget his name right now because I didn't expect you to talk to him immediately.
And he's actually with the encampment. I don't think the ranger, the ranger and the rogue have made it back to the encampment yet, because the elves departed the same time, the opposite direction as we went before we got banged up. So that would probably be a better solution, because they're actually with the encamped 200. I just don't know. I also cannot remember his name.
Well, right now,
Well,
the only person I
Dave?
can kind of think of is
Steve?
Rizwind. Are we all okay if I'll cast it, because that's who I personally in this moment can remember.
Love it.
Due to my knowledge cleric, my head is so absolutely full of knowledge that I can't remember current events. But I have had some conversations with Rizwind, and that's my proposal, is that getting the message out to at least one of the rangers should... Okay, so...
Sounds good.
Darrett is his name.
Suddenly I've remembered that I also met... I'm sorry, what's my Erit?
Darrett.
Aaron.
Darrett, oh my gosh. Actually, come to think of it, Darrett outranks Rizwind, so let's go for Darrett. Who, now I remember, was an apprentice of Becklin who was friends with Ispin. It's the perfect person to receive this message. Great. So, we will tell, okay. So I'm gonna cast, all right, hold on, move. So, Thad, we're just going to tell them to move north.
I hand you, because we have a limited number of words, so we can add to this. I think we're at 11, but Thad writes down on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
tears out, like he gets like a little scroll, and he writes, break camp, move force to North Plateau, contact with enemy made, eye on sky.
This is a fantastic draft. Should we warn them more heavily of the possibility that they could be sky kidnapped by dragons?
Sky kidnap possible. I guess we're up to
Essentially, I think that just making sure that we can. So North Plateau, is that as specific as we can be? Okay, so do we gotta like? Do you want us to like find the words for this, like 5 miles inland from the longitude latitude?
You can say whatever you want to say, and Darrett's going to understand it as best he can.
Okay, here's one. Harold is going to make a survival check.
Yep.
To mark precisely on the map the coordinates that we're trying to send them to, okay?
Yes.
You can
Cool.
hear him muttering something about young people these days. Okay, so 27.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we'll say the coordinates are 4 words.
So mark on you can draw on the map, right, I think?
Yeah, I have. We have it, right? It's, we're talking this, right? Yeah? Okay, we're talking that.
You're muted, Sam.
Move to X. Contact made with airborne elements of enemy. Be on watch. Bubo, MIA.
Cool. And can they respond to that
Yep.
in the spell?
In 25
And they have
words.
25 words?
Okay. So yeah, okay. So at this point, I was like, fantastic. And you wrote it. You just, like she goes to grab the map that Harold's out of his hands, and then she's like, "Oh wait, Anis, may I look at that, Harold, just so I don't make any mistakes."
Mm-hmm.
Great. She snatches it and then is going to cast sending at Darrett.
Good friend Darrett. deeply familiar with Darrett? Yeah, of course. No, I mean, it was like 3 days ago that you left for the Feywilds, and that happened to us in December. So it's been a minute. Cool. So you're going to send Darrett those 25 words. And in response, you're going to, so you hear it like as kind of like in your mind. Yeah. Is that how the
Yes.
words respond? So there's a moment of just kind of like still dust, and you can hear the crashing waves hundreds of feet below you on these cliffs. The little ant-like creatures that are the soldiers opposite you on the cliffs try to pull everyone's attention when there isn't more immediate danger, watching them disappear into that airship. Then the words come back into your mind. Received and confirmed. We'll send contingent to rendezvous at coordinates. Best of luck. See you soon. Darrett.
Well, that worked. So that's good news. So we just have to get our exhausted selves to...
Oh, actually, and as you start talking, there's the final words that have been unused from these 24. He says, next time, take the Fargab.
The Fargab? What does that mean? And
The
Arlie
Fargab-
says that out loud.
Oh, Harley.
It's that gnomish backpack that you can talk. It's broken.
We broke it?
No,
I
it's
thought we
been
just didn't
broken.
think it was that
It's been broken
stylish.
for weeks. We left it with the gnomes.
The wonderful gnomes, they must have fixed it. I don't know if you all know this, but oh my gosh, I can remember gnomish.
Amazing.
So Aelric straps on the stuff and he starts slogging behind. He says, Harold, looks like you're on point.
Okay.
All right.
And with that, let's get started on our travel challenge. So this is a skill challenge, which means we have a set number of successes required. 3 failures is a failure, and we start in the afternoon shift.
Well, I definitely know what I'm saving and what I'm contributing to this. I'm dragging that thing along and
Yeah,
doing
if you,
my very best to take all of the burden off my party as I can. So that's going to be a big O athletics check whenever you're ready to go.
you can be the first to give it to me.
All right.
Oh my.
That's a 16.
That just passes. Amazing. And with that success, with that roll,
Aelric finds his stride. That's all
Nice.
that is Aelric finding the stride.
just one foot after the next. And we take that move to the south. That's one. Now we can press ahead, doing an exhaustion roll to move an additional hex within this shift. You can rest, or we can wait until the next shift to travel. We are now at the end of the afternoon. The sun is setting. The cold of the nighttime is starting to set in as the sand does not hold on to heat very well.
I think we have to keep pushing. If I was that airship, I would send a big old thing of dragons.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you want to press ahead in the same time slot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone give me an exhaustion check. So that's a Constitution check, DC 10.
Check, not a saving throw.
Sorry, no, you're right. It's a saving throw. This is an exhaustion save. Thad and Harold fight through it. Elric, there's something about dragging a 400-pound inanimate object, even on a sled, that just takes the wind out of you.
That's fine. Completely understandable. What happens?
You're going to take a point of exhaustion. A point of exhaustion means you get -1 to all d20 rolls.
That's fine.
Amazing. And you push through in that first shift, double timing to nighttime. You're now a mere 6 miles or so from the agreed upon destination as the sun is fully setting. We are now in our night shift.
Okay, I think Harold will step up then.
Cool.
So Harold, Harold hasn't spent time in this biome, but it does. The mountains and the crags here remind him a little bit of his home, and he had spent a lot of time in the dark, walking around in treacherous areas.
Nice.
Harold is going to make a survival roll to guide the party along sort of one of those paths that's on the ridge of a mountain. Seems to be the straightest line from the beginning to the end. Also potentially hazardous. How did he do? Oh,
14. 14 is going to be a failure. Do you want to describe one, or do you want to leave it up to me and I'll put it in my pocket?
I rolled a 6. Damn it.
Yeah, you got a plus plus 8, I think it was. Wow.
Yeah, that was really bad roll. Harold is leading the party over this ridge, and then in the darkness, you just hear a curse muttered under his breath as he just. And you can take it from there, Coy.
I didn't hear the last word. As he.
Oh, he just falls.
Okay. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna roll here. You are going to fall 80 feet, Harold.
No. The second I see him go, I am going to burn one of my few remaining spell slots on Featherfall.
Amazing. Amazing. In our notes on travel challenges, you can use spells to negate failures, but that means that you do not get to move any hexes, but you get to negate that failure. So you spend that spell slot, save Harold, spend another few hours having to get him back up that 80-foot drop, but he does come back up safe and unharmed. But you lose a few hours there at night. There is going to be some movement of both the enemy forces and your friends have mustered. Dawn is going to come, and we get to our next shift and roll.
Squeak Noir is still just talking to Harold. You must be more careful.
Squeak Noir bailed as you fell. Yeah, Squeak Noir did not fall with you. Squeak Noir was like, this is not the night to fall. It's not, well, you can choose to rest if you want. So you've now traveled afternoon and night. So if you want to keep traveling in the morning shift, that will include an exhaustion save for everyone, or you can choose to rest up now because you've been walking now for about 16 hours. You've been walking and then recovering Harold for a solid 16 hours. So
but we can only use short rests here, right? We only get short rests. We don't get long rests in this wilderness, right?
True. Yeah. So you're allowed to roll your hit dice. You're allowed to regain anything that you get with a short rest. But because of just the nature of having to be ever vigilant in this landscape, you aren't able to get full long rest. The reason that you would want to do a rest is because for longer journeys, this is a pretty short journey that you've chosen for yourself. For longer journeys, taking a rest resets the exhaustion DC, because you just all did an.
I know why we would. So you're answering my question, right, Koi?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know why we would want to rest. So that's why I'm like, why aren't we? And then Sean says, then you, or sorry, so no, something about how we have to be hyper vigilant because of badgers.
We can only short rest in this environment. We can't long rest. That's all.
We can't.
Yeah. So to answer your question,
saying that we could.
No, so to answer your question, Claire, in the travel challenge, my little homebrew thing, you're allowed to take a rest for sure. But mechanically, because this is such a dangerous environment, you can't get the benefits of a long rest while traveling. So while traveling, if you decide to sleep the night or to take a rest for 8 hours, you can get the benefits of a mechanical short rest, but the long rest is unavailable to you as a party because of the nature of the danger of where you are.
Website, and I'm just curious if these ones are up there, just because I can see the skill. I thought we were doing the skill challenge, but this seems like a little different, or it's both.
Oh yeah, so
skill challenge with
it's
house rules on.
I've been so in the house rules text channel in our Discord, I posted a screenshot of the travel challenge, which is slightly different than the skill challenge. Skill challenge is what Matt Colville has created for like A to B narrative actions. Like he uses an example of after a boss battle, escaping the crumbling dungeon. So instead of turning it into like using your actions and like moving 30 feet through a map, he's like, that's a waste of time. It's not fun anymore. So we're just going to do a skill challenge to get out of the dungeon. But I'm using an augment of that skill challenge to cover travel, because travel in D&D is a whole thing that different DMs use in different ways, and this is my decision until I give up on it of how we're going to be traveling through the Northern Wastelands. And if you're allowed to do a long rest every night, then there's no real risk or challenge for anyone.
It's like
no stakes.
Playing a video game and being like, oh, we got hurt, we're gonna rest.
Quick
save,
quick
no,
save.
No, we got attacked.
Exactly.
Quick save load. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on the same. I was confused.
Sweet.
But I am
no, all good. Yeah.
Slowly.
So at this point, morning is coming. We are at dawn again. The last dawn you saw was with rising behind a flock of Dragonel. If you look to the northwest, you can see the large ancient troop carrier airship has crossed the channel behind you and is now where you were when you started your journey.
There, you're muted.
I think I'm just talking to myself. It's okay. Thanks for noticing.
Koi, for today's, I don't know how this helps us move through the landscape if we choose to keep going, but if we wanted to keep going, I want to use, no, because it's not investigation, that's tact. Oh no, I want to use Arcana to try and sort of figure out what I can glean about how fast that airship might be able, like the ground it might be able to cover, and ways that we might be able to use the topography around us to sort of like hide our tracks moving forward.
Arcana to hide. So you can certainly give me an Arcana check to try to evaluate how fast the airship is moving and get a sense of it. That wouldn't be That wouldn't be kind of like movement towards
Got it.
your objective, but you can definitely do that for free as just a check. 23. Yes, the airship is, it's of an ancient design. It's moving pretty fast. So it's moving like at the speed of maybe a galloping horse on a clear road. But like a ship and high sail. It seems to be moving independently of at least where the wind is blowing at the ground level. The wind might be different up there, but it doesn't. You also can't see any sails, so it seems to have some sort of its own propulsion system. In terms of its capacity to see you, you're not quite sure whether or not there would be any like special built-in types of things that would be able to spot you. But you are a small group of 4 individuals in a vast landscape, 12 miles away, so not easy to spot.
Is there anything that I know just from my time being interested in magical stuff and being at the tower of like energy sources? Does it need to dock? Like, can it indefinitely just fly around, or will it have to go land and do so, like, you know what I mean? What's its
Yeah, I think we're talking like we're talking like original trilogy Star Wars. These ships don't have fuel. Sorry, that's just I just think I just revealed something about my opinion on Rian Johnson. Yeah, they don't need to refuel. They have like some sort of Arcano reactors that are able to continue to be used, or they're able to somehow pull arcane energies from the nature itself.
So if we want it out of the sky, we would have to knock it out of the sky. Like it either needs to fly away on its own accord, or okay, got it. Yep.
Correct. Yeah, but I'm gonna force another travel roll before, but other people can check to see if they want something else. Claire, go for it. Sorry.
So the refugee elves escaped on an airship, right? So
no.
Why,
They
No.
teleported.
Never mind.
Yeah. The refugee elves teleported back to Wrecker's Edge. The enemies on
And they
the
have a
airship.
regular ship. They have a ship.
Yeah.
Oh, the infantry of the bad guys is on the airship. There was
Oh my
there was the Air Force basically that we fought with, but Harold had also seen a large infantry force when all this originally went down.
I'm so confused. I was like, why does Sam want to take away the refugees' airship? I mean, I know we could use it, but like, it just seems like... Okay,
Screw you
sorry.
guys.
I am literally, this last work trip, I'm very clearly sleep deprived, but I think...
It's all good. There's ships and things and forces and all this sort of stuff going on. I mean, on the map, so you have like the circle, the dragon eating its own tail. That's the bad guys. They're in an airship, and they have air support, which are Dragonel and a young red dragon. At Wrecker's Edge, there's a little token that says Expedition Force 200 low magic. Thank you, ChatGPT and AI, for taking over all of our jobs and making a nice little token for us as a thank you. That represents our allies. They have gathered their forces and they are moving towards that white circle where you have agreed to meet.
Can I use acrobatics to sort of, if the ground is crumbly and people like Harold might go, can I use acrobatics to sort of like scout ahead of the party for like crumbling footfalls and
Hell yeah, yeah.
And
Exactly.
guidance on myself so I can add a D4?
Sick. Okay. Thad takes point.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. Thad, do you want to describe this? Do you want to give it to my pocket? Put it in my pocket, or does someone want to? Or does someone want to spend something?
I'm like immediately. I'm like, I think that maybe this time I should take point. It's cool. Don't worry about it. I don't need to. And like the first footfall I do, I fall.
just like a kind of like those ice pits in like Everest or something, but with stone. Just this kind of it's a chasm that's been covered up by a little bit of dust and dirt. That's a little just the tiniest bit of weight, and Thad is dropped. Thad.
Before he can finish that sentence, please tell me, like, before he can finish that sentence.
Yeah.
Like he says, I think this time I'll take.
Guys, I think this time I got Thad. That is a 30-foot drop.
I'm gonna burn another. I have 2 spell slots, 3rd level spell slots left, but I will feather fall again.
Okay, amazing. That is going to be another negated failure, but you are not allowed to move this shift. So once again, taking some time, having to get some rope out.
Sorry.
Incredible. By the time Thad has been recovered from this little chasm, both him and Harold have now been given honorary pins of falling pins, let's call it, but by Squeak Noir. The sun is now high in the sky, and I need everyone to roll a exhaustion check for the morning because we didn't have a rest. So that's going to be a Constitution save, and that's going to be a DC 12.
When you say we didn't have a rest, you means we didn't do a short rest, which
Yeah,
we're allowed
so-
to do here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is
So
that because we just didn't specify it?
yeah, because Thad wanted to.
Okay.
Thad. So to be clear, this is totally fair. What I'm trying to do is set up a rule that we can start getting back. We're going to use a lot more in the coming few sessions. So today is like the first time we're using this. Hopefully we'll be getting a lot more used to it because this is how we're going to go through the Northern Wastelands is with this game. Every time you roll, it represents 8 hours of time in the day. So Thad doing that roll and failing, that's like 8 hours. That's the morning. So you've already now gone through the afternoon of yesterday, the night you walked through, and now the morning you've gone through. So you've gone through 3 shifts of the day without spending one of those shifts resting.
And that seems like a stupid decision on our part. Like, I don't understand why we're doing that. Shouldn't we rest? Like, we
It's
can't do the
because
long
we're-
That's an
we're
in-character. That's an
waiting.
in-character discussion to have.
Is it? Okay. I think this is sort of stupid.
The airship. That big airship on the horizon that our friend is probably being tortured to death on while we drag this useless piece of f***ing metal through the f***ing wasteland because a Kender who is supposed to stay in a tower so everything in the universe stays correct left the tower.
Well, I appreciate your opinion, Thad. I will take it under revision. And get back to you in 3 business days. She just...
I just had to stay in the tower. I fucking put a Kender with their Wanderlust in the tower to keep the universe. Like, I fall back into the ravine.
If Zivlin didn't want me wandering, Zivlin wouldn't have come to me in a dream. Zivlin didn't want me wandering out in the world. Oh, what is happening? I need to do accent homework.
Kender's a wandering.
Kids.
Sorry. I miss Boobo. I'm sorry.
Harold is like
Arlie,
4
you're very
decades older
right.
than everyone.
A short rest would be great right now, but we're 6 miles away from the rendezvous. We just need to push once more, and we can rest. You think you can lead us there?
Arlie, you have to take point.
Sorry, are you talking? Is Harold talking to Arlie?
Yeah, Harold was talking to Arlie.
So is
Oh,
Aelric.
jeez.
You have to take point. You're the only one left.
Me?
Harold took point. Thad took point. Now you must take point.
Great. Fantastic. Sounds lovely.
We're setting
Yes.
up point as the kind of the shorthand for it's your turn to roll the mechanic check to get through the travel bit.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Claire, you can roll any skill you have proficiency in, and you can invent how you use that skill to help you move forward as a party. So this is part
And
of
we can't
you
use
helping.
skills that have already been used, right?
You can't use a skill that you've used, but this is your first time, so you can use anything, and you have to be proficient in it.
Okay, and we need to do Constitution saving roll. Right. No?
Yeah, the Constitution
For the
saving
chat
throw
test.
is for the exhaustion, and then the next roll that
Cool.
you'll do for your proficiency check or whatever, that'll be so we can get through this next leg of the journey.
Cool. So Harold, after that large fall, which wasn't that which in the end was magically saved, but quite a large climb back up, and then helping Thad, who's much heavier and larger than Harold, out of his hole, has found himself a little bit tired. Harold is going to get a point of exhaustion. And Arlie, the skill roll is on you. So any skill you have a proficiency in, your choice, and you can invent
Okay.
the narrative problem and solution that you use your skill for.
Okay, so it's gonna be a medicine check, and
Sweet.
It's gonna be like, right. I know everyone is, especially that, is ticked off with my the way I'm approaching this situation, but I seem to sort of hit my head at some point because I just trust that Boo Boo will be fine, which is clearly delusional. So however annoying everyone may find it, I am going to be making a sweet little tea tincture along the way by picking the various like. So she's just using like, I'm gonna say that she's using come on, spells. I want to scroll up on the things that I think I can do. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to pretend that when you cast light, it can create. I'm going to pretend that she's just going to. If you keep casting the light cantrip, like maybe it can heat. I'm just going to be like, it makes a bowl like lukewarm, like not hot. You don't have time to stop.
Oh, like an
boiling.
oven light? Just like an oven light,
Yeah,
basically?
like an oven light. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So she's just
sure.
like oven lighting this more like, I don't know, mortar and pestle kind of like, she's just like got this like little clay thing, and she's just like, as
Oh, I
they
love
travel,
it.
she's just like she's just casting like light on this thing to heat it up, and she's making this like this medicinal kind of tea, this like fortifying kind of like
I
licorice
love
fruit
this.
and like dandelion bit and just whatever, and the whole point, it's meant to be like emotionally calming. It's like it's just,
This is
it was
amazing.
really
So, like, well, Harold is like, I got this in the night. And then Thad's like, don't worry, I got this. And Arlie's like, I think what everyone needs is a nice cup of tea. Let me just grab a few herbs and have a sip. And I think we're going to be good. So the way that she leads is not necessarily through like being the front person in the line of adventurers, but in like gathering herbs, heating up a little bit of water, and then it's like,
But it's
everyone,
not
you know
like
what?
proper hot. It's like lukewarm. So
Yeah,
it's
just
not gonna taste that
lukewarm.
great, but it's
It's like rock pasta, which I think Keen
Yeah.
would know a lot about. You know, when you don't have a fire and you need to heat up your pasta in a nice plastic bottle in the sun. It's just a story for another day. But yeah, you just make a nice little cup of hot green
I
stuff
thought you meant
tea.
stone soup, but that sounds like when you said, I was like, oh, stone soup in Toronto is called rock pasta.
No, that's a special story that I have from
Okay.
last summer. Yeah, join the Patreon to learn more. Okay, Harley, roll your medicine
And
for
I'm
us.
just okay, and she's just gonna flitter,
Yeah,
and I kind of want to have guidance on cast on this.
Cool.
Also. But,
awesome.
because I'm concerned. But yeah, she's just going to be like, Thad, I know you think I'm not taking this seriously, but would you please seriously consider drinking this lukewarm tincture?
So you're offering the tea to everybody? Is there one at
Yeah,
a time?
she's just like
Yeah.
throughout the day. She's just like, and like she's just she's got a constant like kind of tea supply.
Yeah.
It looks like you're flagging a little bit. It looks like you might have sprained your ankle. Actually, hold on, drink this.
Yeah. Oh, this is good for a scratch. Oh, this is good for your energy.
Yeah.
Just getting lots of different things that are growing around, and yeah, just being helpful. I love it.
I think I'm gonna fail here. It's a fail anyway, even with.
Okay, so we've passed morning. So this was our afternoon, right?
Oh no, it's okay. I did okay. It's 16, right?
Yeah, the DC is 16. You hit it. Amazing with that guidance. Perfect. And that's going to leave us at sundown at our rendezvous location. And our allies and friends are also on their move. That leaves us at sundown. We're at our location. I guess at this point, what do we want to do?
Is there any way that we can is there any place in the landscape that we can sort of start to build a long rest that might sort of wave in on top of us? That makes any kind of sense? Like, are they hitting us tomorrow morning? When will they get here?
Anyone who wants can give me a. I don't have a character sheet in front of me. I think it would be a perception check on the ship. This is gonna be a DC 10. Amazing. Well, so everyone is able to see. The airship has stopped at the Arcane Crucible and has started disembarking troops there.
I mean, I think that we start to build a little entrenched camp here and wait for the forces to meet up with us.
For sure. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we should do. In the most
Harley, what do you think?
Don't understand.
Harold,
I'm so sorry. I'm not doing anything else. I'm
Harold,
not reading.
can you source us the best place to hide in this area?
Your thing. Their
Amazing.
survival roll, quick.
Yeah. Give me a survival roll as you find the proper spot. This is obviously it's like a 6-kilometer diameter space here that we're looking at.
19.
Dirty 20 that I see.
19. I have a point of exhaustion.
Oh, right. 19. Yeah, you're able to find a nice little spot that you can kind of prepare for at least a few dozen oncoming allies. That will be enough space for some tents and whatnot if you need. You guys are there early. With that, we're going to take a little break, our little bio break of the day, and we're going to come back in, I'm going to say 15 minutes. So it's 9:20 we'll be back. Thank you so much. I'm just going to pop on our little credits for everyone.
Welcome to Solamnia, the Banal Era. 350 years after the great cataclysm tore asunder the very fabric of existence, erasing the divine and the draconic from reality. The ingenuity of the gnomes, undimmed by the cataclysm, has given birth to a new era of technological marvels. Steam and steel blended with the arcane. With no more divine influence, Solamnia's social tapestry has rewoven. The once fragmented races of humans, elves, halflings, orcs, and kenda have found a harmonious coexistence, freed from the manipulations of their now absent gods. The Solamnic Knights, paragons of honor and duty, stand as the unflinching guardians of peace. Forsaking personal claims to power, these knights embody an unwavering commitment to justice, serving as a beacon of hope and stability in a world still healing from its past wounds. The government of Solamnia is comprised of 3 equal branches: the House of Lords, representatives from the noble class, who still own most of the land and soldiers; the Grand Solamnic Parliaments, consisting of local representatives elected by the people to serve in provincial and federal capitals. It is worth noting that the Solamnic Knights are funded by the Parliament and sworn to honor and protect its decisions. The Arcane Triumvirate are the 3rd branch, 1 mage representative from each tower. These 3 are the only magic wielders allowed in government. In the arcane spheres, the towers of high sorcery reign absolute. These custodians of magical knowledge wield their authority with a solemn gravity, ensuring that the arcane remains a controlled and respected force. Mages, bound by the tower's edicts, are stripped of land, title, or office. Their presence in banal courts a subtle reminder of the balance between political and raw power. Transformed by necessity, the Order of Clerics, once divine emissaries, now traverse a world devoid of their gods. From their stronghold in the Cleric's Tower, amidst the Kenda-controlled Western Plains, they have adapted to their new role as legal solicitors, notaries, and arbiters, their sacred rituals replaced by the intricacies of contract and law. It is in this waxing era of arcane technical wonders that the winds suddenly shift, carrying with them rumors of dark powers rising in the east. Welcome to Solamnia, the Banal Era. 350 years after the great cataclysm tore asunder the very fabric of existence, erasing the divine and the draconic from reality. The ingenuity of the gnomes, undimmed by the cataclysm, has given birth to a new era of technological marvels. Steam and steel blended with the arcane. With no more divine influence, Solamnia's social tapestry has rewoven. The once fragmented races of humans, elves, halflings, orcs, and kenda have found a harmonious coexistence, freed from the manipulations of their now absent gods. The Solamnic Knights, paragons of honor and duty, stand as the unflinching guardians of peace. Forsaking personal claims to power, these knights embody an unwavering commitment to justice, serving as a beacon of hope and stability in a world still healing from its past wounds. The government of Solamnia is comprised of 3 equal branches: the House of Lords, representatives from the noble class, who still own most of the land and soldiers. The Grand Solamnic Parliaments, consisting of local representatives elected by the people to serve in provincial and federal capitals. It is worth noting that the Solamnic Knights are funded by the Parliament and sworn to honor and protect its decisions. The Arcane Triumvirate are the third branch. One mage representative from each tower. These three are the only magic wielders allowed in government. In the arcane spheres, the towers of high sorcery reign absolute. These custodians of magical knowledge wield their authority with a solemn gravity, ensuring that the arcane remains a controlled and respected force. Mages, bound by the tower's edicts, are stripped of land, title, or office. Their presence in banal courts a subtle reminder of the balance between political and raw power. Transformed by necessity, the Order of Clerics, once divine emissaries, now traverse a world devoid of their gods. From their stronghold in the Cleric's Tower, amidst the Kenda-controlled Western Plains, they have adapted to their new role as legal solicitors, notaries, and arbiters, their sacred rituals replaced by the intricacies of contract and law. It is in this waxing era of arcane technical wonders that the winds suddenly shift, carrying with them rumors of dark powers rising in the east. Welcome to Solamnia, the Banal Era. 350 years after the great cataclysm tore asunder the very fabric of existence, erasing the divine and the draconic from reality. The ingenuity of the gnomes, undimmed by the cataclysm, has given birth to a new era of technological marvels. Steam and steel blended with the arcane. With no more divine influence, Solamnia's social tapestry has rewoven. The once fragmented races of humans, elves, halflings, orcs, and kenda have found a harmonious coexistence, freed from the manipulations of their now absent gods. The Solamnic Knights, paragons of honor and duty, stand as the unflinching guardians of peace. Forsaking personal claims to power, these knights embody an unwavering commitment to justice, serving as a beacon of hope and stability in a world still healing from its past wounds. The government of Solamnia is comprised of three equal branches. The House of Lords, representatives from the noble class, who still own most of the land and soldiers. The Grand Solamnic Parliaments, consisting of local representatives elected by the people to serve in provincial and federal capitals. It is worth noting that the Solamnic Knights are funded by the Parliament and sworn to honor and protect its decisions. The Arcane Triumvirate are the third branch. One mage representative from each tower. These three are the only magic wielders allowed in government. In the arcane spheres, the towers of high sorcery reign absolute. These custodians of magical knowledge wield their authority with a solemn gravity, ensuring that the arcane remains a controlled and respected force. Mages, bound by the tower's edicts, are stripped of land, title, or office. Their presence in banal courts a subtle reminder of the balance between political and raw power. Transformed by necessity, the Order of Clerics, once divine emissaries, now traverse a world devoid of their gods. From their stronghold in the Cleric's Tower, amidst the Kenda-controlled Western Plains, they have adapted to their new role as legal solicitors, notaries, and arbiters, their sacred rituals replaced by the intricacies of contract and law. It is in this waxing era of arcane technical wonders that the winds suddenly shift, carrying with them rumors of dark powers rising in the east. Welcome to Solamnia, the Banal era. 350 years after the great cataclysm tore asunder the very fabric of existence, erasing the divine and the draconic from reality. The ingenuity of the gnomes, undimmed by the cataclysm, has given birth to a new era of technological marvels. Steam and steel blended with the arcane. With no more divine influence, Solamnia's social tapestry has rewoven. The once fragmented races of humans, elves, halflings, orcs, and kender have found a harmonious coexistence, freed from the manipulations of their now absent gods. The Solamnic Knights, paragons of honor and duty, stand as the unflinching guardians of peace. Forsaking personal claims to power, these knights embody an unwavering commitment to justice, serving as a beacon of hope and stability in a world still healing from its past wounds. The government of Solamnia is comprised of 3 equal branches. The House of Lords, representatives from the noble class, who still own most of the land and soldiers. The Grand Solamnic Parliaments, consisting of local representatives elected by the people to serve in provincial and federal capitals. It is worth noting that the Solamnic Knights are funded by the Parliament and sworn to honor and protect its decisions. The Arcane Triumvirate are the 3rd branch. 1 mage representative from each tower. These 3 are the only magic wielders allowed in government. In the arcane spheres, the towers of high sorcery reign absolute. These custodians of magical knowledge wield their authority with a solemn gravity, ensuring that the arcane remains a controlled and respected force. Mages, bound by the tower's edicts, are stripped of land, title, or office. Their presence in banal courts a subtle reminder of the balance between political and raw power. Transformed by necessity, the Order of Clerics, once divine emissaries, now traverse a world devoid of their gods. From their stronghold in the Cleric's Tower, amidst the Kender-controlled Western Plains, they have adapted to their new role as legal solicitors, notaries, and arbiters, their sacred rituals replaced by the intricacies of contract and law. It is in this waxing era of arcane technical wonders that the winds suddenly shift, carrying with them rumors of dark powers rising in the east. Welcome to Solamnia, the Banal era. 350 years after the great cataclysm tore asunder the very fabric of existence, erasing the divine and the draconic from reality. The ingenuity of the gnomes, undimmed by the cataclysm, has given birth to a new era of technological marvels. Steam and steel blended with the arcane. With no more divine influence, Solamnia's social tapestry has rewoven. The once fragmented races of humans, elves, halflings, orcs, and kender have found a harmonious coexistence, freed from the manipulations of their now absent gods. The Solamnic Knights, paragons of honor and duty stand as the unflinching guardians of peace. Forsaking personal claims to power, these knights embody an unwavering commitment to justice, serving as a beacon of hope and stability in a world still healing from its past wounds. The government of Solamnia is comprised of 3 equal branches. The House of Lords, representatives from the noble class, who still own most of the land and soldiers. The Grand Solamnic Parliaments, consisting of local representatives elected by the people to serve in provincial and federal capitals. It is worth noting that the Solamnic Knights are funded by the Parliament and sworn to honor and protect its decisions. The Arcane Triumvirate are the 3rd branch. 1 mage representative from each tower. These 3 are the only magic wielders allowed in government. In the arcane spheres, the towers of high sorcery reign absolute. These custodians of magical knowledge wield their authority with a solemn gravity, ensuring that the arcane remains a controlled and respected force. Mages, bound by the tower's edicts, are stripped of land, title, or office. Their presence in banal courts a subtle reminder of the balance between political and raw power. Transformed by necessity, the Order of Clerics, once divine emissaries, now traverse a world devoid of their gods. From their stronghold in the Cleric's Tower, amidst the Kenda-controlled Western Plains, they have adapted to their new role as legal solicitors, notaries, and arbiters, their sacred rituals replaced by the intricacies of contract and law. It is in this waxing era of arcane technical wonders that the winds suddenly shift, carrying with them rumors of dark powers rising in the east. Welcome to Solamnia.
As we are at 9:20, welcome back, everybody. Thank you. Welcome back to this Kalaman Life. I'm your host. What's his name? Glass? Idra Glass?
5 years ago, never mind.
350 years ago, the gods disappeared. And where are they now? What is the state of religion in our secular state? Is it better for the people? This week on this Kalamnic Life. Okay, let me turn a little happy music. We got a little I got a little relaxed. You know, we were just having an adventure. We can have something that's not so much of a scary, high stress. Let's do a little bit of a Red Dead Redemption 2, shall we? Sean's sharing in our little secret chat. Love what you're doing with Midjourney. AI is going to control us all in 5 years, so we might as well embrace it. Bow to our artificial gods in our godless world. The party is able to...
It won't make a difference.
It won't make a difference.
You will be first against the wall.
They don't care about our worship. They only care about their power levels. Welcome to the Matrix.
I voted for photos.
You know, actually, and I'm just gonna say it because we're having fun here. In the first edition of the Matrix, the humans were actually being used to create a networked server with their brains. So it wasn't actually humans providing power, which goes against thermodynamics.
It was computation. They were using human brains as computation. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was computational power.
Made a lot more sense, but the producers were like,
idea.
Yeah.
That is so much better idea.
And they thought it was going to go over the audiences. The audience wouldn't understand how important that would be to robot societies, so they changed it to the simpler nonsensical power plants.
Batteries, which just breaks thermodynamics and makes no sense. Yeah, as processing power, using our brains as processing power, like, actually makes sense. It's just one of those things you're like, I'm just going to retcon that in my brain and move on. So the party is able to hunker down there for the day until the expedition force arrives. It's not all 200. It is led by Darrett. Darrett arrives at the head of the cavalry that you were able to bring, which is about 50 horses. This is the total cavalry contingent. Some of the mounted soldiers you see are members of Cudgel's mercenaries who've kind of taken... You're not sure what the story was that ended up with her mercenaries taking these soldiers' mounts, but for however it happened, it happened. And Darrett rides on you, having kind of found... Harold had found this wonderful kind of safe and secluded spot where about 50 mounted horses with armor and provisions, military and medical supplies come up to you, and as everyone's unmounting, Darrett comes to the four of you and greets himself in his wonderfully generic fantasy accent. I see you've all made it well, but where is Bubo?
There, you're muted.
I was just saying, who wants to answer that? But it was not in character.
Thad just starts crying. Yeah.
So just started crying.
If that starts crying, Arlie then is going to step in and be like, right, Bubo, not here, possibly over there. And she's just going to point to the dot on the horizon that is the airship.
That is that airship. Yeah, that Zeppelin that's kind of sitting atop Exile's End.
Yes. Very emotionally distressing topic. Tread lightly.
I see. Well, we were all quite surprised when the elves suddenly appeared on their ship where we had moored, but they spoke quite highly of Bubo. We assumed that you were all right. Something about some sort of mechanical arcano device and some darkness.
Yes. That device, and Arla's just gonna gesture. I'm picturing like to the sledge that Aelric's been dragging. As you can see, things are going very well, and I'm sure we will have Bubo back in no time. But truly, genuinely, for whatever it's worth, I believe that Bubo must be alive, because otherwise we would have watched them murder him out of the sky, and that's not what we saw. So...
Out of the sky?
Oh, they can fly, hence the... Yes.
Airborne elements of the enemy attacked us. Bubo's bravery and youthful vigor exceeded his grasp.
I see.
He engaged a superior force. Bubo engaged a superior force. And that force took Bubo. Why? We don't know. But I agree with Arlie. They could have torn him apart, limb from limb, if they had cared to.
A superior force for you spells danger for me and my forces. But I know we are doing what we must. What can you tell us about the enemy? But perhaps we should return to Rekka's Edge. We can provide escort if you like. we have established quite a strong beachhead, and I would feel better around the rest of our forces.
That's
Harold
why
looks to
you're here.
Elric.
That's why you're here.
Very well then.
What Arlie wants to go talk to Elric, but I can't tell. If this is a good
Yes,
moment.
of course.
We need to rig this up on the horses. Horses need to draw this damn carcass. I'm tired of it.
You carry this whole way yourself. Well, of course, am I mistaken? I don't remember you with wings, Elric.
We've all experienced changes.
I see. Yes, these lands are discomforting for us all. I believe your return shall help us sharpen our resolve and solidify our objectives. The men are getting restless, and morale is discomfortingly low for such an early time in our expedition.
Well, our news is not going to help that. Take these ropes, secure them to the horse, or horses, so we can drag this thing the rest of the way. But we need a moment.
Of course, my
The
lord.
party needs a moment.
He addresses you with your current title.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
You are the Duke of the Hinterlands.
That's right.
Easily have been forgotten in this past few very eventful days / months. He gathers some of his forces, and they begin to fashion a kind of harness to carry the construct, the inert construct back. There's slight grumbling that is balanced only by the rise in morale that the troops have from seeing you, the 4 heroes of Vogler, the champions of Kalaman, the first true heroes in an age. There is mutterings, of course, that you are one shorter, and the last time anyone saw the construct, it was in a very different aspect. But the very fact that most of you are still here, and that there are clear orders, even if they are to turn around immediately, gives these soldiers direction and purpose. As they do this, the 4 of you are left to your own devices. There are 4 horses that were brought additionally for you to ride, were you to choose, and a smaller mule for you, Harold.
Well, Elric turns to the rest of the party after they've given us the space. Something's on your mind, Darlie.
Just, do you remember? So we thought that we had successfully won the fight when you managed to convince Groot to leave, and then we were very quickly accosted again. And I'm just curious. I just don't understand the overlap of those events. Was that a recon mission that we just what was, now that they are clearly hovering over, or were they not hovering? No, you said the place by accident, right, Koi? They're not actually gone back to the whirling.
Yeah, from what you could tell, the enemy airship, the enemy forces, are at the Arcane Crucible where you encountered Groot. That is where they stopped moving, no longer following you.
It seems like we were in the right place to defend the right thing, and then in pursuit of them, you've compromised the thing that perhaps we should have stayed next to. But it wasn't in pursuit of them. It was in pursuit of Legion and Herald, and I understand that. But it seems as though we hugely misperceived how important that situation and the fact that Groot came to us at that location, and that has me concerned. But because my memory is compromised, what was Groot's presence in the fight? What was? You would know. You spoke to him, perhaps. Perhaps you would know.
If I had to guess, Groot, after we sent him on his way, went back to report as much as he could about us, rallying these troops to come back and visit our deaths on us.
Right, but they must have another purpose beyond just our own demise, because they are at the location where you build an Eternity Crystal. They have, or at least that one that we met that also flew on a Dragonel, has the Eternity Crystal with Tikisys, their goddess. So what are they doing? Either trying to build a new Eternity Crystal, or possibly destroy the machine that makes them, or the mechanism by which they are made. I think there's a serious vulnerability that I fear we did not take into consideration when we abandoned.
I'm sure
that
you're
location.
right. I'm sure you're right, but we did not have one choice other than the one we made. We could have stayed and died.
We all ready to ride? Darrett comes towards you.
I mean, 1 minute. Harold, Thad, what is your interpretation of events?
I think that Bubo died to get us the Infinity thing. I think that they wanted to stop us from doing it, but we did it anyway, and now he's dead, and I said he was gonna die next, and none of you believed me.
Tea. Have some tea. It's lukewarm.
Harold, thoughts?
There you go.
Squeaknar scurries off of Harold's shoulder and onto Thaddeus's, and the teacher comforts his old student. Yes, but we did not see him die, did we? No. We saw him taken away. Where we do not know. But, Thaddeus, on my honor, we will find him.
Okay. But I think that he wanted to stop us from making the thing. I think that they don't want us to make any more of the things. I think that we gave up the ground, but we there's something about like battle war, an aphorism you would probably know, are like
Really, I
You
agree
mean
with
it's
you,
better
but
to-
we...
Harold?
After you, Aelric.
No, please. I can barely understand
I
what
agree
he's
with your I agree with your outlook, Arlie, but we didn't have much of a choice, did we?
Just
We could barely
hindsight
take on
is-
it. We could barely take on their expeditionary forces. Their main
Just-
body would have killed us.
The hindsight is killing me now, but I guess it is a collective burden that we bear. Or Thad's taking on the lion's share right now. Someone has to. I'm choosing to feel my feelings at a later date. So, what's the plan?
I think the only plan that we can make right now is to get back to the main force,
Yes.
make a larger plan from there.
We can
don't
be
have the
there by
manpower
nightfall.
to do.
You all mount up and begin riding. We're gonna do an old school Aaron Sorkin. This is my favorite verb, which is a walk and talk. But we're doing what I like to call a Western Sorkin, which means we're riding and talking. So we got a little bit of going on.
Oh yes, the Western Wing.
Next. Brava, sir. Brava. Yes. As you start riding out, you still don't have. They hadn't brought a cart, so they just kind of have crafted a more sturdy sled that isn't your personal armor, Aelric. Yeah.
Do you need me to make a roll on that armor? I mean, dragging all. I mean, is it usable? I cannot. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it would have affected that armor. To be honest with you,
It got scratched up for sure, but it's. I mean, I think I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you used the back plate, which is going to need a lot of work anyways because of your new wings. If that makes sense. You're on mute, so. Oh.
totally makes total sense. Thank you.
Yeah. But it's also, we're talking about like, high quality quasi mythical steel here. Because this is armor, from my understanding, that you've had since you left the desert. So this is actually armor that was crafted and made for Dragonborn and your people. So it is a very special type of steel, and definitely getting dragged along dirt isn't going to do much for its sheen, but isn't going to degrade too much its usability in battle. But good question, yeah. So as you ride, you got about a day where you're going to be riding back towards Wrecker's Edge. If there's anything else that the party wants to discuss, talk about, ask Darrett about.
Yeah, so I ride up to Darrett, and I say, we've not been gone more than a week, and you say morale is low. Provisioned. What is the problem?
Well, we encountered a great naval battle on our journey to Wrecker's Edge, landed, and to be frank, we lost our champions. It's been days where, after setting up a beachhead, preparing defenses, we've been a force without purpose. And being without purpose is draining for a soldier. I'm not sure if you've had much experience working within the strict hierarchy of a military command, Master Grey, but my men are a simple folk. They want only to protect their lands and their families in Calaman. They believed that being a part of this mission could aid in that, but they do not understand the hows, the wherefores. I believe your presence will bring much needed boost to said morale, but we have an unclear goal.
You know, I've never understood your kind. No offense. But give me 3 squares and a place to sleep. They want battle. Insanity.
Darrett looks out over his men and across the barren landscapes and responds without looking directly at you. It is not battle we seek, but it is purpose. It is a belief in something greater, something perhaps in another age might have been assigned to a greater being. But we were born in an age without the Eternals, the gods. We search for merely purpose to make life better for ourselves and for our companions, our families, our kin. For Solamnia. I must say
Very
that
noble. Eric.
my questioning of my purpose, I would lie were I to say I never did so. And you, in many ways, represent those same questions that oft keep me up at night, were I to doff this armor and give up my creed. But there are times when I also think that without this purpose, without this belief that I have signed up for, amongst others with me across the land, generations before me and hopefully after, I'm not sure what I would live for.
A warm bed. Someone to share it with.
These are good things. Things I hope my men can return to.
Harold just kind of lets the silence sit.
For sure. When you walk all day, the simple clip-clop of the horses, time passes. Anyone who's worked simple jobs with others understands how conversations can start and stop with minutes or hours between sentences. And this is how that last conversation with Harold and Darrett passed. Is there anything else any of the other party want to do or do what during this journey back to Wrecker's Edge?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and hit the Seeds of Zivlin again, even though I'm not particularly rested. They've had a day, so
Yeah. Every morning they get recharged, so for sure.
anybody else need some of that love? No, we didn't get a long rest yet. We haven't had a we won't be able to get a long rest until we actually get back to Wrecker's Edge.
Oh, like so even with the protection of the people, we still can't rest in the train.
Yeah.
No, to be clear, Claire, everyone met and rendezvoused and decided to immediately turn back to Wrecker's Edge under the protection of this group. So you're now traveling without a skill challenge. You're traveling in a protected group, but you have not yet actually taken that time to spend 8 hours resting.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Is there anything else that's going to happen on our journey back?
I think Arlie wants to talk to Ilric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I should just be like, I haven't really asked you how it is that you feel about the bad guys essentially bearing your likeness and your language. I know that you're not that as far as I can tell, they're sort of like estranged cousins. I know that you were raised alone with your mentor, and that you're the last of your kind. But here's this other kind of kind, and it seems like they would have you, and I don't really know what that means. Possibly take you in, possibly as a sandwich. It seems like they're kind of open to your lead, and I haven't really asked you how you feel about that, especially now that you've got wings. Right.
Oh,
Mute, Sean.
It's been quite perplexing. As I grow and change without answers, without knowledge as to why. Thad seems to know. Grook seemed to know. I'm very troubled. You know about my uncle. You know about the slaughter of my kind. But I'm becoming more and more convinced that the hordes that my uncle spoke of were what we are facing now. That for some reason, my kind presented some threat. And so, before that threat could come on to them, they were rid of us. But for me, these changes are less hard than how we have changed, how my party, my friends, my family have changed since being here in the north. I almost killed you. Twice.
I at least saved you once, so I guess you owe me.
I owe you a lot, darling. Too much, maybe. But
Sorry, terribly seriously, never tell Kendra that you owe them. It's really, they will collect.
I hope you do. I don't have a good answer to your question. That speaks to me about my wings that I didn't know were a part of me. He seems to have full knowledge of you, full knowledge of Harold, full knowledge of Bubo in ways that we don't know. Grook.
Deeply mythological being. Or at least his ability to storytell is deeply mythological. And his worldview is, I think, not without merit, although I have no idea. It exists in no book. He seems to sort of just channel. I wouldn't be surprised if he multiclassed into Bard next. She does not say that last bit.
I just feel that it's becoming harder and harder for me to keep a part of this family, because I feel more and more that my presence is a greater threat to you.
I think if you were to leave this family, as you put it, you pose the greatest threat, both to us. I think if you forsake these bonds, you make yourself incredibly vulnerable to being sort of abducted into a very unhappy family that may look like you, but will absolutely use you against us. I can almost guarantee that. And so you actually ensure our safety by not leaving.
I'm not leaving. I agree. And I'm not leaving. It's just hard. If you asked how I feel, these are the things I feel.
I was curious, so thank you for sharing.
And before it decays completely away, he leans forward in Dragonborn and says, "Ask again when we are in Kalaman."
Shall in Draconic.
As you crest a final ridge, hours of simple trotting with this group of cavalry, you see out into the small bay that is Wrecker's Edge. The ethereal dread, the troop transport, and the small elven ship as well. The ethereal dread, massive in this small, deep water bay. Protection and foreboding. This is a safe space, but this is war. And as you come down towards the shoreline, you see the dugouts and positions of the soldiers. Aelric, you first. Harold, you noticing, of course, the attempted hiding places that you might be able to add some benefits to with your own guidance. Thad, you see a clear lack of arcane defense. This is simple soldiering. Steel, arrows. Can do a lot of damage, but it is not trained to fight wizards and magi. As you finally come down to the shores, you see that much of the supplies have been offloaded. The ships have been put into anchor, and the ethereal dread is pointed, ready to set sail out again. You all remember the orcish captain who calls herself Admiral, who is the captain and helmsman of the ethereal dread. She's clearly ready to leave at a moment's notice. Of course, with this many ships and this many people, a moment's notice at this scale is hours and hours at best. You come to a beachhead, but one that is yours. And as you are surrounded by the forces who have not seen you for days since you first left them, before they even made landfall, when you first examined that elven ship, if you remember, so many days ago, it feels like months, and you encountered those air elementals, and Thad scratched out that teleportation rune circle that thankfully was repaired by Legion, because it ended up being what saved those 24 elven refugees just a few days ago. These soldiers surround you, and there is elation. There is stillness, quietness, but within the disciplined stance, there is hope. And from this hope, there is a light that opens up in the clouds, and a ray of sunshine finds its way onto the four of you. And you all level up as you are touched by something greater.
Where's Doke?
Meow.
Where?
I love that this is taking so. This just me as a DM, just absolutely loving that it's taken this long for anyone to ask where Dilk is. Yeah. Jelzuel, you see Jelzuel approach. He approaches adorned in what first appears like a fur kind of like a mink wrap almost. And as he gets closer, you realize it is a snow white fox that has draped itself around his shoulders. Ah, you've returned. Of course, I expected this would happen. He looks to the sky. But where is Bubo?
All Arlie just looks to Aelric.
The white
Gotcha.
fox.
Hey.
The white fox around Dilk's shoulders also looks up, first to you and then to the sky, and then back to you. It slinks itself off like falling molasses, lands on the ground as it stands up into the human figure of Dilk. Hey guys, I just, I figured they needed a little bit of support. I came back with them. It's a good crowd you got here. I'm surprised. It's a lot more people than we came with. I think you're doing the right thing. Big supporter, you guys. Love your forethought.
Before Thad can start weeping and proselytizing doom, old steps in and says, "Bo was taken. We don't know the purpose. As an airship, we presume him to be on it, but lack the force to mount an assault. Last we saw it was where we left you. We assume they've gone to investigate the site. For what purpose?
Ah. Of course. I had let myself hope. But now is not an age for such things. I suppose we must look to the next objective. Josuel turns and is forced to hide his face as you see he gets quiet. And anyone can give me an insight check if they'd like.
Oh, dang.
I am very lagged, so you're going to have to tell me your results.
Thad knows everything.
Thad rolled nat 20? Oh, damn. Thad, you have seen... You have seen once in your life when the ground has fallen out, crumbled out from under someone. And that's what you see with Josuel. He is someone who has lived on faith for years. He was able to use such conviction to bring 200 of his own people into a suicidal mission following the visions that he got of dead gods hundreds of years disappeared from the realm. And that conviction held both himself and his people. And when he found Bubo, that conviction cracked because through it grew fresh hope. And with the loss of Bubo, that hope has been plucked. And his conviction is left shattered.
Have we broken, how aware is Jesuel that Legion houses all of the gods?
With a nat 20, not much. He doesn't know.
Okay, so we've kept that KFAB, that's been kept.
Yeah, Legion is a construct. Constructs were made in the pre-cataclysmic era, and he is not an expert in this field. So certainly any working construct is something that hasn't been seen in a long time, but neither neither have any type of heroic figures such as yourselves. Legion represents an unknown factor, but that unknown does not hint at the nature of what Legion's true essence is.
I whisper to Arlie to hand me the stone.
Which stone is that in reference to?
Didn't I
Oh,
give
the
you-
Eternity Crystal.
Yeah, the Eternity Crystal.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So,
I take the Eternity Crystal once I have it, and I walk up to Jezuel, and I've sort of been like weeping to myself like the whole way back. My power spent, and I come up to Jezuel, and I'm gonna want this back, but I want you to take this, and I want you to go over to the construct, and I want you to look at the gems on the construct, and I want you to look at the thing that you're holding in your hand. And I want you not to tell anybody else about what you see, but we're gonna need your magic, so I'm gonna need you to get on board. Because we're gonna save Bubo. Okay.
You and Jezuel share a quiet moment with wet eyes as he takes the empty Eternity Crystal and goes over to the inert Legion construct. Seemingly out of nowhere, a number of other elven refugees come and help take him out of the sled that he was put on, and they treat him with reverence and place him onto a more sturdy ground. And Jezuel begins inspecting him. Darrett comes up to all of you, having mounted his or dismounted from his horse, and them being led off towards the kind of makeshift stables that have been made. Well, I believe it is time we must prepare for the next stage. But I can see in your eyes and the way you hold yourselves that maybe a rest is in order. Shall we say at first light we convene and have a council of our next steps?
just because Claire is doing such a great job of following along, we've now caught up with the refugee elves in addition to the army.
Yeah. Yeah. So the refugee elves are now with the expeditionary force from Kalaman. So the refugee elves teleported to their ship, which is in the same harbor that you, with the expeditionary force, have moored in. So if we're looking at if we're looking at this like a video game, you were able to add the refugee elves to your forces. So they are now like part of your core forces in the Northern Wastelands. You have now 225 some odd forces.
And they're the Sylvanestri elves, or is that
Correct.
a forest?
The Sylvanestri forest is like the homeland of. It's one of the elven homelands. It's kind of like a nation of elves. There are other forests that elves come from that have a different name, and that those would be like a different ethnicity of elves, for lack of a better word. But the Sylvanestri woods are where these elves are from. It's also where Bubo is from.
Yes, I do remember that. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so we are talking to the people I think we're talking to.
Yeah. So if you like, you can either take camp on the shoreline or return to the Ethereal Dread, which is where the meeting will be taking place in the morning.
I preferences for where to sleep? On the boat, off the boat. I just desperately I must rest. It is my intention to prepare sanctuary and never switch it out for anything, because we could have kept poor Elric from the sort of like up and then down and then up and then that can't have been comfortable.
It was not comfortable. But
Just as I surmised.
I think we should camp off the boat.
Watching this interaction with Legion, because we haven't gotten our stone back yet.
Jezebel's holding it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna wait until his inspection is done, but I am gonna ask for like a pretty whatever the nicest cot, like a good cot. I want somebody to get me one of the good cots.
I mean, on shore, they're just like bivouacs, right? So they're just kind of like the same type of camp that you would have in the field. The Ethereal Dread or one of the other ships would certainly have nicer, like you'd have your own room with like privacy and you are very high-ranking special people, so you'd be getting like officers type quarters. The nicest quality rooms that you would be able to find would be on the Ethereal Dread.
Well, I would like a room on the Ethereal Dread, please.
Yeah, for sure. And are you wanting to like wait for Jelzuel to like talk to you before you go to sleep, or are you going to get anything back from him, or just kind of leave him to his investigations?
No, I'm gonna wait until he tries to figure out the little puzzle to see if he gleans the puzzle that I gave him or not.
As you're waiting, Elric walks up to Thad. What does it say to a lord's men when the lord sleeps in a cabin and the men sleep on the ground? Be the leader who eats last, not the leader that eats when he's hungry.
I'm not a leader. I was a leader, maybe, but now I'm just a very sharp blade. And you treat a sharp blade very well.
With a little more vigor, Elric says, they don't know the difference. They don't know you've changed. They are on the edge. We need every single one of them.
Okay, I'll sleep in a tent. Just a nice tent. Just the best a tent.
Of
Is there a
course.
bathtub? Can I take a bath? Is there a bath on the boat? Can somebody just fill a bath with?
There
You
is
can
a
fo-
lagoon right there.
Uh, Thad says that he understands. How long is this going to? If this takes too long, I will interrupt.
Of course. I was just trying to give a little bit of time for the thing to happen as well.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. At a certain point, when you're kind of having a bath prepared for you, Thad, Jelzuel finds you again along the shoreline, holding still the this new Eternity Crystal that you have forged, and waits for the kind of low-ranking soldier to leave out of earshot, and kind of comes close to whisper, "Am I right in recognizing a similarity.
As long as this information then stays between us, you very well might be, yes.
Did you bring it, or are you following it?
Unclear.
It seems to be missing one.
It's of vital importance that we get it back.
In that case, you may need this. And he gives you back the empty Eternity Crystal.
I hope you understand that your trip here may not have been in vain, but may be dearly important. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's not many people around this encampment that are trained in the arcane. It would behoove the fate of the world if you and yours possibly stayed and rectified this gap.
We'd hoped to follow Bubo, as he reminds us all of our home. But we will do with his friends.
Then it will be a pleasure to continue to fight by your side. And please, especially around Dilk, please keep this between us.
I hope fighting is not always what we must do. Dilk is from very near where I grew up, actually. It's funny you should say that. He goes into this, like, it turns into, him and Dilk have actually become good, close friends. They're like people who meet each other in another country who end up being like, oh, hey, you're from California, I'm from New York. All of a sudden, you're both Americans when you're in the middle of China. And so Josuel and Dilk have just, like, bonded over memories of Sylvanestry fruits and such. Not to say that he disrespects your wishes, but he doesn't seem to hate him as much as you have found dislike.
If he talks to me about Dilk, I disrobe and get in the
bath. Awesome. All right, so everyone's going to take a nice long rest. Everyone take your long rest. You are able to remove 1 point of exhaustion during a long rest. We will go through the mechanics of your level up by our next session. Is there anything that anyone wants to mention, like through the long rest, during the night, before, or waking up early, or anything like that? Otherwise, we're going to jump into our little war council on the deck of the Ethereal Dread the next morning. I'm going to give a second just for anyone if they want to.
I was going to ask, is that
Yeah.
going to be a 10-minute scene, or should we save it until next week?
We're going to begin a scene that's going to continue into next week. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just kind of going to be like the beginnings of it. So we find ourselves on the deck of the Ethereal Dread. We have a map of the Northern Wastelands. This is an old map, pre-cataclysmic. So it does not look exactly like yours. And on it, they have made adjustments to match what they have found. Clearly, over the last few days, they have sent out some scouts and been able to get a sense of the local region. And they have discovered a few points of interest that they have identified. These points of interest are things that Darrett, as well as the other leaders of the different contingent groups that you all are kind of yourselves leaders of, have agreed upon as important and potentially significant. And Jelzuel was also briefed on his arrival and was able to confirm his own belief on them. As you see on your maps, you should see these points of interest on your map. These are points of interest that you can choose to travel to using our travel challenge in our next session. I am going to kind of slowly vibe us out of our in-character. We're going to return into the middle of this discussion in our next session, and I just want to kind of tell everyone from a mechanical perspective, the travel challenge that we use today, we are going to be using to travel to and from these points of interest. Each point of interest will have its own kind of thing going on there. We can decide as a, you can decide as a group where you're going to go. You have authority over this expeditionary force. You can choose to have the expeditionary force move where you would like them to move. They move 1 hex per day. You move much faster. As we know, you can get a long rest when you meet with them. We are going to say that the force that travels from Wrecker's Edge will be large enough to provide a long rest. So that long rest position can move, meaning that you don't have to necessarily return to Wrecker's Edge after every single journey. But beyond that, each location will be kind of a discovery and an exploration. We are moving into our travel and exploration chapter of our journey, with our main objective, of course, of finding either the arcane forge where the crystal containing Takesis could be destroyed and she could be released, or doing what you will with that. Is there any? So we're going to return into an RP session, our next session, with this discussion. We'll start with an RP session in that discussion and then jump into a travel. Next session probably won't be this. We're probably going to have a little special week next week that I'll leave still as a little bit of a surprise for our audience. But any questions or clarifications in terms of like what our next? It'll be a few sessions at least is going to be.
To be clear, amongst the party, I think this is. Or maybe you as well. Everyone is moving on this, right? Like we're taking the whole retinue with us.
So you can move with the expeditionary force, or you can move independently faster than, right? Because you guys can move 3 to 6, or depending however fast you want to move through the Northern Wastelands. You can move pretty fast if you choose to push. The expeditionary force over land can only move 1 hex per day. Over sea, they can move 3 hexes per day. But the decision of how they're going to, the strategy of your force and you will be up to you. I'm going to say for the simplicity of mechanics, you and the expeditionary force are 2 items that can travel either alone or together. I am not going to get into the nitty-gritty of splitting up the expeditionary force into multiple different contingents. It's just going to start leaving D&D rules. But if you want, you can choose to have like 1 or 2 members or like a couple from this expeditionary force, like Rizwin or Quillith or people like that. Does that make sense? Cool. And we're going to start with this next session, so we'll have time to look at the map. We'll talk about it in character, be able to like go through this strategy in character. I just wanted to give you like an out of character kind of overview as to like what our objective is in our gameplay, which is that like we have points of interest. We're traveling to those points of interest, discovering things in those points, how they're going to help us get further our information gathering, knowledge, all that sort of stuff in our overall objective.
It seems like this is out of character talk here, I know, but doesn't it seem like we have just so many boxes to tick, right? Like I'm just sitting here thinking, my mind is starting to melt because we still haven't done the first thing, we were trying to do, which was get to the thing, the first thing, right? Because we got distracted by the second thing, which distracted us into the
right?
Feywild. Huh?
Is the first thing the forge?
Yeah, the forge. Yeah, I was gonna say the cauldron, and I knew that was wrong.
Yeah.
So we never got to there. We still got to get there. We still got to, and we got to get Bubo. Now we got 4.
Well, we don't know which one of these is the forge.
Exactly.
Is somewhere on the map.
The forge is somewhere on the map. Exactly.
Oh God.
From the
So-
sky, it's pointed.
Yes.
So we don't. We're at a major disadvantage because they have an airship and they're going to be able to see things from a top down. I mean, they're flying around looking for craters. So I think it's more along the lines of like probably once we hit a location, hopefully that'll point us in the next direction. So we don't have to hit each one of these.
Yeah.
It's more along the lines of like a higher map, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm just gonna say this as we're
Yeah.
winding out of time here, and I want to make sure Keen's on here for it. How handy would that airship be? How handy would it be to have that airship?
Hell yeah. But to be,
So something to chew on as a party.
I mean,
I don't
full-
know who would drive it, but
I'm gonna be full metagaming and just like behind the curtain. We have now, with this kind of in many ways fully returned to the module that is the book Shadow of the Dragon Queen. The way that the book says is that each one of these locations should be one session.
Jesus Christ.
So
how did we
it's-
get to each one of them. I mean, they're so
So-
far away, man.
The idea is that with our travel challenge, the travel challenge should go fast, right? Is the idea like once we get a comfort level of how they work, the travel challenge should go pretty quick. We just like roll through it, move it, and then we get to the location. The location is like itself a mini adventure level,
Right.
and then either we travel again back or to the next one, or we finish and then at the next session move on. According to the module, each one of these locations, traveling to it and going through it, is itself one session. Now, we have in general moved slightly slower than what the module says, but just as a general sense, we're not talking about each one of these locations being as big as what we did with Exile's End, to be clear.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for enjoying us. We got airships to hijack. We got locations to uncover. We got Bubo to get back eventually. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Vikavar. We'll be seeing everyone next week with a special episode. Tune in and check us out what that's going to be. And then in 2 weeks, we'll be back for the War Council aboard the Ethereal Dread. Until next time, you are Legion.